Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Doris. Today we are going to practice yoga for tight hips or for the hips in general. What I recommend to have is a little folded blanket or maybe even a block if you have one. We're going to start sitting on our little support. Join me here when you're ready. So in your seat, just see if your knees are a lot higher than your hips. So this is where we try to elevate the sit bones so that it's easier for us to sit and it allows the hips to support us and relaxes the knees a little bit. You can sit with your knees really wide like me, or you can kind of shuffle the feet underneath your knees and cross at your shins. It's kind of just preference. You can also sit on your heels if that's your preference. It all means different positions for the hips and every hip likes different things. And when you're settled here, take a moment to really ground through your legs, through your sit bones, even if they are not touching the ground technically, trying to allow them to become heavy, the legs as well. And gifting yourself with 3 full conscious rounds of breath. And then as you're sitting here, I actually recommend to switcheroo the legs, so have your less dominant leg in front. We usually have default here. And then you can hold on to your knees or your front leg, your front ankle. Inhale to open the chest, draw the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round back, chin to chest. So inhale to open and exhale to round. So a few of these, and thinking of the movement starting from your pelvis, from your hips, and then moving into the head. So depending on how you're sitting, that will also means the movement is slightly different. So if you're sitting on your heels, you might find it easier to move your pelvis into tilted front and back, because this is essentially where the movement starts and how we start this wave-like motion. And it might be that you feel like your hips, your pelvis isn't really moving. That's okay. You might just move more of your upper back. Perfectly fine. We try to just work with where we are without trying to shame the body or feel frustrated about where we are, because it's nothing you can change right now. And yoga teaches us to appreciate our bodies and to be content with where we currently are. But it doesn't mean that we can't be on a journey towards somewhere else. All right, quick inspo. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then eventually bring your chest upright again. Just quickly sit off your support. We'll need it in a second. Support yourself with your hands behind you, step the feet out in front and quite a bit wider than hip-width distance apart, and you can adjust the position and let both knees, legs drop to the right, plug that hip back and other side. So if you keep plugging your hip back to where it was, you're not going to move, but it's very likely that you might also just change the position and your hips will move forward and you just have to adjust your hands, your feet for this. So just moving left and right, just a few more rounds. Internally, externally rotating the hip. And then come back to seated. Think of proud, strong chest. Maybe you can release the hands and bring them towards the feet. Grow tall, pull your torso up. Just take another breath in here and out. And then release. Come into a seat. I personally prefer the way to get into this from a seat. Have your little support handy. Left leg is in front, bringing the right knee back. So now the right knee is at hip level. And we have this 90-90 in our knees. Then press into the hands, just lift the left sit bone off the ground and then plug it down again. You can choose to push that right leg back further than, you know, at hip level. The further, that might be more intense, so just maybe find somewhere comfortable today. And then we are rotating the torso to face the front leg. Maybe you want to pull the heels a little further in, or maybe there's not even way to bring them into this 90-degree angle with the knees. Perfectly okay. And for your little support, let's just pop that underneath the left hip. So just support the left hip a little bit because we tend to lean towards the side of the front leg. So let's just find a little more balance. And then flex your toes. So pull the toes towards you, push the heels away. Maybe you can feel a difference. Perhaps even trying to engage the right glute. And then facing your front leg, thinking of a proud, strong chest, and just walk the body a little over that leg. Maybe you come on to forearms and keep pulling those toes towards you. And maybe even for the front leg, press the leg slightly into the ground. Maybe you can feel that engagement. Release the active leg, but keep the feet active if you can. Right glute active. Let's just stay here for 2 rounds of breath. And then slowly unwind, come back onto your hands. And then let's start to turn our torso to face our back leg here. Maybe you want to lean further back. Maybe you push the torso up. Maybe you can find this almost upright position, keeping those feet active. Just another inhale and exhale. And then come back to face your left leg. Bring that right foot to the front. And then move away from your little support here. Now the right foot is just underneath the left knee. Grow tall, inhale, and then exhale. Just hinge forward with your chest. Maybe you're coming onto your hands here, perhaps forearms, but think more of tall chest. Feet still active. Thinking of almost like a cow spine, so that movement that we did in the beginning where we were rounding front and back. Think almost of a cow move. So pulling the belly towards the legs. Take another breath in and out to release. Come up. Have your little support ready. Shift into the right and left leg comes back. So again, knee maybe at hip height, maybe a bit further back, further front, and then just support yourself on your hands, lift the right sit bone, plug it back down, feet active, and then let's find a little support for our right hip here. Wiggle, wiggle, find your position, active feet facing the front leg, and then let's just melt belly and thigh together, active feet, maybe left glute engages, and maybe just briefly press that right leg into the ground. Release, stay for 2 more breaths. And then unwind, come back up and face your back leg. Again, you can lean a little further back. Feet active. Another breath in and out. Rotate to your front leg. Bring that left shin in front of the right thigh. Right leg. Shimmy maybe the feet just underneath the knees. Inhale to grow tall and exhale, think of hinging forward and thinking of an upright upper back. Active feet. Another breath in here and out. Come back upright. soles of the feet together, knees wide. And give yourself generous space here between heels and sit bones so that you can still feel like you have control over your belly and your lower back. Let's just let those knees move up and down a little bit. And then release that movement. And once again, think of pulling your belly towards the legs or towards the ground and thinking of keeping the chest upright. You can press your forearms, your elbows into your legs and maybe open them a little wider. Thinking of a tall chest here. There might be almost no movement or very little movement, and that's okay. But that is really powerful, strong movement. Let's stay for a final breath in and out. Release. Just bring the legs into a cross-legged position for a moment. And then coming into kneeling, maybe you want to have just a bit of knee support. I certainly will. So kneeling onto your little support if you wish, sitting back onto the heels, and then coming into kneeling, having the knees hip-width distance apart, shifting a bit into the left foot, stepping the right foot out in front. So 90-90 once again in the knees, so we don't want to go into wide lunge just yet. Glutes engaged, thinking of growing tall here, especially in the left side, thinking of moving the left glute, the left leg forward, but because you're so strong and active in that leg, it won't move. Maybe you can feel the activity here, just resting the right hand on your right thigh. 2 rounds of breath, super active. And then keep a slight engagement in your left glute, and then walk that right foot a bit further out so you can hinge the hips a little forward and just play a little bit with extending the right leg, bending it more. So a little dynamic here. If you feel like it's quite wobbly, you can walk that right foot further out. A widened stance usually means a more stable one. And then eventually maybe cross your forearms on top of your right thigh. Just find somewhere where you feel a nice stretch in your either front or back leg. It depends on your anatomy where you feel it. I feel it more in my left hip flexor, my back leg, but maybe you feel it in your front leg, maybe even the ankle. Who knows? And then push the ground away. Right knee meets the left. And left foot steps out. Once again, in stillness, strong right glute, wanting to do this hinging, but not letting it because we're so active. Just staying for a few rounds of breath. And then extending the left leg a bit further away and play with this movement of bending and extending the front leg. And then find somewhere where you just want to hang out a little bit, maybe cross your forearms on top of your leg, on top of your left thigh, glutes engaged still. And then come back up. Left knee meets the right, sit back and just move your support to the side, but we will use it now for a pigeon. So coming into a tabletop position, left knee meets the left wrist, so like the outer corner of the left wrist. Move that right knee back and let's just keep that left shin parallel, and your left hip might be just off the ground. Maybe putting your support just underneath there, and maybe then you can shimmy the foot a little bit further away from you. Maybe you'd just rather have your hip floating freely, or maybe it's on the ground, that's perfectly fine. You can use the support, especially if you feel like in deer pose you're tilting over to the side. Let's stay upright for a moment here. Strong glutes. Taking a breath in and out. And then maybe coming onto forearms, sinking the weight further into the top leg. So this doesn't make it a deeper pose or a more advanced pose necessarily. It just means that we put more weight and emphasis onto that front leg. And if we are upright, then it kind of balances it out between the legs. Making sure the hips are roughly square so that we don't completely fall into the left side, maybe because of the support. Breathing in and out. Push yourself up. Back upright, tugging the right toes under, walking the knee a little bit in, and then pushing back into your tabletop. Move your support to the side, and then right knee meets right outer wrist. Walking the left leg further back, maybe bringing that support underneath the right sit bone. Maybe you can drop onto it, pull that right foot a bit further out, and then find your pigeon. So it's perfectly okay if your knee is out and past your hip. That is likely what's just going to happen. Stay upright just for a moment here. And if you'd like, coming onto the forearms. And bringing more weight into the front leg. Slowly unravel, push up, and just drop into the right sit bone. Bring that left leg back. Feet step out in front of you. Support yourself on your hands. Knees face the sky. Sink a little back. Right ankle, right shin on top of left thigh. Maybe you want to walk that left foot further in or further away. Right foot active. Push the chest in towards the leg. 3 breaths here. Releasing the pose, right foot steps to the ground, and left foot, left ankle on the right thigh. Again, chest pushes to the legs, foot active, thinking once again kind of a cow shape pose. Breathing in and out. Release. And allow yourself to roll down onto the back, hugging those knees in towards the chest. And have your support to the right side of you. If you have a folded blanket or a block, maybe you won't need it, but maybe you will. Open your arms out into a T and bring the shins parallel to the ground. So keep moving the heels a bit away from your hips. Inhale, exhale, just drop your legs over to the right, keeping that 90-degree bend. And maybe with your blanket, you just have something to either support your knee, your thigh, or your shins. Right hand can come to the outer left thigh and allow yourself to feel the support of the ground. Grounding the left arm, so we'd rather have that on the ground than the legs. Taking conscious breaths into the belly. Breathing in and out. Release the right hand. Bring the legs in to center. Maybe just move your blanket over. Shins parallel to the ground. Inhale. Exhale over to the left. Maybe left hand to the outer right thigh. Soft face, soft jaw, soft shoulders. Final breath in here and out. Releasing the hands, bringing the legs back to center, and then finding a way that you'd like to finish practice, just taking a few moments for yourself. Digesting the practice and allowing the legs and the hips to rest. And then maybe taking a deep breath in and out. And maybe bringing the hands together on top of the third eye as you express gratitude for body and mind for this practice. Thank you for taking this practice with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you can feel a little more space in your hips or your lower back. Tight hips is super common, so you're not alone. And with a bit of movement, we can really achieve a little more space, more comfort in the body, and that's really what it's all about. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and please let me know how the practice was for you in the comments. If you like more exclusive content tailored to you and your needs, check out my online yoga studio. Link is down in the description box. I hope you have a great day. See you soon and take care.